Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Stephen David Brooks on the line, and he is a director and a screenwriter, and today's episode is part of our AFM series where we bring you the best of American film market, those that attended, participated, and really all of the above. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
All right, so we got a lot to talk about today. I definitely want to get into your experience as a director and as a screenwriter, and also let's talk about anything that you're working on right now. So happy to get into that as well, and your insight into what it take an idea and make that into a finished film. So we got a lot to cover here today, but to get us kicked off, AFM this year. This is part of our AFM series. How did it go for you? Have you been in the past? This is the first time? Like talk to me. How did it go for you?
Yeah, I've been to AFM. I think my first year was 94, 95, somewhere in there. And this year was one of the most energetic AFMs I've been to.
Wow. I felt like it was back. Like it felt like people were just back. Like the mood, like I don't know how to explain. I've been trying to bottle that, but it was like it felt like it was back. Go ahead, please. I agree with you though.
Yeah. No, it had an energy, and I was trying to analyze why it has that. And I think because, we're in an era now where the streamers and the major film companies, the studios, are cutting back on production. So something has to fill that gap, and that's the indie film world, which is what AFM is all about. And
that makes sense, actually. So people showed up that maybe even wouldn't have traditionally, huh?
But I ran into a number of new people, made some new friends, but saw people I've seen for years, and even they were much more optimistic about the indie film world, which is very much what I'm into. I'm in the indie film world, and it just felt like a rebirth of sorts. I mean, it was really remarkable.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. Sometimes when I go to certain events like this and I'm like, and you see things kind of revert back, I feel like it's like, okay, it's like pre-COVID, or it's like after everything shut down, and sometimes it takes a couple of years for people to really get back into the flow of when they're coming out. But that's how I felt. It was like, oh man, this is cool. I saw a bunch of people that I don't normally get to see, and I'm like, everybody's in LA from all around the world, really. There are people from everywhere that I saw. I was like, wow, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So I want to switch it up a bit here, Stephen. Let's start a little bit on you here. How'd you get into film? Where'd all that start? Where'd that begin for you?
Well, that would be a 3-hour podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, I'll give you the major beat. When I was a kid, I would sit in the movie theater in San Jose, California, and just by myself and watch movies. And I just fell in love with how seeing a story on the big screen can transport you to another world. And then I discovered soon that there was someone behind the scenes actually making the movie, the director and the writers. And then, of course, I learned about producers and crew, cinematographers and grips and everybody. And I just said, that's what I'm going to do. And I went to UCLA.
So you knew, you knew when you were a kid?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Was there a specific movie? Was there a movie or was there a moment? I'm just curious if there's one that just stuck out or if it was just a culmination.
It was a reissue of 2001: A Space Odyssey. Because that's a movie that got re-released like every 2 years for 10 or 15 years, and it was one of the re-releases, and that's the first time I thought there's a vision behind the movie. I never realized that before, and I started exploring how do movies get made, and I took my dad's 8mm camera, started shooting movies, that kind of thing. So that led me to UCLA Film School, which led me to working a whole bunch of jobs and then I accidentally fell into visual effects and was mentored by John Dykstra, and I became a he supervised Star Wars, the first Star Wars, won an Oscar for that, and he gave me the opportunity to become a visual effects supervisor, and I was working for Tobe Hooper, who directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Poltergeist, and then years later Tobe, because I was always writing part-time, in the evenings I was writing, because I was writing screenplays to give myself something to direct. That was the goal. And Tobe, I had a great relationship working on Spontaneous Combustion, and he hired me to adapt a Stephen King short story called The Mangler. And Stephen King had script approval. I developed that script with Stephen King's script notes, and all of a sudden I was a professional screenwriter. And then second unit director, screenwriter, and then eventually out on my own started directing my own scripts. And here I am. So that's the short version.
Wow, that's an amazing story, and I love it because it's always interesting to me to see how somebody falls into what they're doing, number one, but then number two, how they kind of like take it to the next level. And look at you, you're like, and then I was a screenwriter, and I'm like, I think one day I woke up and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm a podcaster. How'd that happen?
Yeah, exactly. It
happens sometimes, or at least that was in my case.
It's preparation meets opportunity. You have to be ready to take advantage of the opportunity, but the opportunity has to hit. And I find the opportunities for me hit not when I want them, but when I'm ready for them.
What does it take to be a film director? Like, what are some of the ingredients you found?
Infinite patience. It's a very laborious, detail-intensive process. It involves working. The first thing it takes is a clear vision for what the film is. And by vision, a lot of people think the visuals, the look, and that's part of it. But the clear vision for me is, what is the essence of the story? I start with theme. What is the theme? Is the theme love conquers all? Is the theme, good triumphs over evil? Is the theme no good deed goes unpunished? What is the theme? And then the characters and the story bring that theme out, but it starts with the themes. So then the vision comes from the themes. And that means who you cast, who the characters are, how the script is written, the dialogue, the atmosphere, the design, everything. And so what it takes to be a film director is being able to visualize all of that, but not being a dictator. I can go to an art director and say, I have an idea for the color palette, and this is what the set should look like. But I want them to use their creativity and experience to go, well, here's an idea, and here's an idea. What about this? I want that, because if the art director, and oftentimes the art director, the DP, will come up with a better idea for a scene or a look, and I'll go, yeah, that's it, let's use that. Because I don't care where the idea comes from. I will use the best idea available. So it's that ability to visualize, but the ability to also collaborate with other artists to create a better film. That's the essence for me directing.
What is it? Take me through a bit, and I know every film's going to be a little bit different, but I'm trying to get a feel for like the creative process, like of what it takes to go from idea to like a finished product. And I know that could be a 20-hour conversation too, but like, give me some of the milestones or the high level. Like, how do you think about it?
Of course. Well, first of all, it's when an idea comes to me, the first thing I do is sort of think of what's the genre? What is this? Is this horror? Is this action? Is it a drama? Is it a thriller? Because the genre, mainstream filmmaking is all about genre, right? Oftentimes a film doesn't work because it doesn't know what it is. Is it horror? Is it a drama? Is it action? You kind of mix all these genres together, it sometimes doesn't work. So I think of what is the genre, then I write it to that genre. But the thing is, in terms of process nowadays, is it used to be write a script, your agent sends it to people, they option it, you develop it, they put the package together, and hopefully it gets made. And nowadays, the writer and the director have to do a lot more. So when I finish a script, the first thing I do is create a lookbook, a pitch deck lookbook. And I do two different ones. The pitch deck is what goes to financiers and so on. And then the lookbook has a lot more detail, and that goes to DPs, art directors, sometimes actors, to give them a feel for what the film is going to be like. And it's crucial to go out, like when you go to AFM, to go with just a script is not going to get anywhere. You have to at very least have a pitch deck to give a visual sense of what your film is going to be. You also should have attachments, but that's a whole separate thing. Yeah, like actor attachments. But so that's the process. It really, once the script is done, it's the pitch deck. Then it can also be attachments, getting actors attached so that you have a complete package. So a financier can look at that and go, oh, you want this much money, that's your budget, you have these actors. Then it becomes a yes or no decision. Yes, with those actors at that budget, I can make money on this, I can sell this movie, let's do it.
So I always get this concept when I see it. And for me, when I was at AFM, I'd be hearing people like, pitching and both sides, right? People that are there to purchase movies, people there to sell. When it comes to, and this is a slight shift of the question, what do you think it takes to kind of like have the process of now you have the film to like now getting it out there to sell it to the distributors or otherwise, like to kind of like pitch it, right? Like now you got this product and this project, like what does it take to pitch that?
Well, what it takes is having as many elements of your package together as possible. Ideally, especially if you're a first-time feature director, is you need that script has to be rock solid. You need a budget done by an actual production manager, line producer, somebody who has experience to create a realistic budget. And the schedule goes along with the budget. 1 or 2 actor attachments, actors who are names appropriate to your budget. And who the names are oftentimes sort of seems counterintuitive. Sometimes an actor will just be big in Europe, and here people don't even know who they are, right? But if you have a movie that can sell in Europe, so having as much of that package together, and like I said before, you want to go to a distributor or a sales agent or a financier and have it just be a yes or no-brainer answer. And if you have all that package and a start date, you're ready to go. You have your key crew, you have your DP, you have your art director. You're literally ready to jump on a plane and go to location or scout locations locally. Or you even have your locations already. You know where you want to shoot. As much as the package that's together, that's the key. I can get away with, because I have a track record, I can get away with a script and a lookbook because people know I've already done this. But somebody just starting out, you have to have that package absolutely complete to have a shot at getting a yes.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
That's great. Stephen, it makes a lot of sense. And it's been great having you on the show today. Last question here. What are you working on that you could tell me about? Like, what do you got in the hopper? What's next for you?
I'm in post on a film called Appleseed, which I shot in Ohio earlier this year. We're finishing up the visual effects, and that's going to be delivered to the distributor in January. Should be out later next year. I have another film that we haven't announced yet, so I'm going to be a little bit vague, but it's based on an acclaimed novel by a Canadian novelist and have a name actress attached to the lead. We're casting the other roles at this point. We're looking to shoot in March. That's the current plan. Once we have a more concrete idea that when we're definitely shooting and have more actor attachments, there'll be a formal announcement. And out of AFM, I have been tentatively offered to adapt a really interesting crime novel for a company in New York. I'm in discussions with them about doing that. I have another one of my action scripts that is out to investors via a producer I met at AFM. There were 2 other producers I met at AFM who sort of seemed to like everything I pitched, and I sent them so much material, it's going to take them 3 months to go through it. But they wanted to see everything. So I sent them everything. And, I have a feeling something is going to come from that. So 3 really serious deals out of AFM, which is unheard of, for me, at least.
That's what I'm talking about. This is great stuff. Stephen, if somebody's listening or watching this and they want to follow up and follow your work, how do they do that? How do they connect?
Yes, I have a website, StephenDavidBrooks.com. StephenDavidBrooks.com. And if you misspell Stephen with a V, it still goes to my website because I got both domains. Or Instagram, SDB510. But most of my stuff is through the website. It has reels, it has links to past work, and that kind of thing.
Awesome. For everybody listening, just so you know, we'll put some links in the show notes so you can just click on the links and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day, we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way in your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Stephen, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. Take care.